Going live. We're live. Hey, folks. This is Oakland District 4 City Council candidate Pamela Harris. Pamela, welcome to Zenny 62 on YouTube. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
And thank you. Hey, so tell us how this is your platform. And first of all, I'm really honored that you have put up my technical difficulties, to be honest. And now we've got this outstanding stream, and tell us how this is going. How's your campaign going? And also tell my viewers what your message is. We just have a few days before Election Day. You're one of the top candidates, and congratulations on everything you've done. And not only that, for being, I just have to say this, an outstanding person. You're a very nice person, and I really have to compliment you.
Thank you, Zenny. And it's been a really wonderful race. It's been full of twists and turns. That certain, we've had two people drop out who were front runners and who had raised lots of money, which is certainly a factor in all political races. It's been, again, just full of twists and turns. And I think, especially given our political environment, for me, it's been a really exhilarating experience to be engaged in the community in the way that I have been as a candidate. I will also say that it's been wonderful to get to know our full cohort of other candidates, even, the two gentlemen who dropped out. I have very warm feelings towards both of them, as well as all of the other candidates in the race. I think now more than ever, it's really important that we look at how not to be at war with one another in our own home communities, and look at how we can work together to really lift our communities as we engage in a political process. And I think that how we conduct ourselves in our campaign speaks a lot to who we are as humans, and carry forward our leadership and our character. Character matters, and we see that, and the pitfalls of not having people in office with good character.
Yeah. Hey, so what is it that motivated you to run?
That's such a tough question, because, I do feel that sort of all roads have led me here. I've always been of service in the community. I'm the first person in my family to graduate from college, and when I graduated from Vassar College, and a lot of my cohort was going off to work in financial sector and in for-profit corporations. I went to work with people with developmental disabilities and physical disabilities. And I've always been of service in the nonprofit sector. My parents met during the civil rights movement and continued to have their relationship through the anti-war movement. And my father was a labor organizer with Progressive Labor Party. My parents instilled in me the value of being engaged in the community in service. And that's a deeply held value for me. And so, entering this race, that is absolutely how I entered this race. That's the spirit in which I entered this race. And it was, two things. The national election 2016, when, so many of us, especially Black women, were called across this nation to get involved and step up and be that moral compass and be of service in our local communities. I stepped up as well, and I got involved, and I became a delegate within the California State Democratic Party in Assembly District 18. And, that just really helped to form my political view in terms of where I could be of service in the community further through political involvement. And I was walking to work in downtown Oakland in late March, and very sadly walked past the body of a dead homeless man who died cold.
Oh my God.
Yes, very, very disturbing. And, that image is with me every day. And I, not a religious person, but I do pray that his death was not in vain, and that if it served as a wake-up call to a public servant, hopefully that is a seed of good service. And so, I carry that with me. And I got involved because, we've seen massive displacement in Oakland. Our homeless population has just grown significantly. And I know that we are progressive people. We're people who want to solve this problem. And I want to be part of that solution.
Hey, so what is your number one? First of all, I want to thank you for so much, folks. You can see Pamela's positions on various different issues in Oakland on Oakland News Now, and I want to thank you very much for submitting that. It was very valuable. I have to say, folks, I think that Ms. Harris will be an outstanding city council member should she win. I just have to say that just publicly, okay? You're very welcome. You're very welcome. What is it what's the number one issue? I know what it is, but I want to hear from you and how you would deal with it. I think you kind of touched on it, but this is your platform,
I would have to say sheltering the unsheltered right now is really a pressing and urgent problem across our city. We saw another report today, calling in San Francisco, right across the bridge, calling the crisis their human rights crisis. And I see the crisis here in Oakland through that same lens, that this is a human rights crisis, this is a human rights issue, that housing is a human right, and we have a moral responsibility to provide basic shelter, especially to those who are vulnerable. We have whole families living on our streets, and we have people who are working, who have jobs, and the majority of people were formerly housed here in Oakland and Alameda County, and many people stay because this is where their networks are.
Right.
We can push them out. They're very vulnerable right now, and what we need to do is we need to invest in
right. Yeah.
That prevention through.
We got you. I'm still here. Okay, let's try that again.
Okay.
Let me get rid of that. Okay, there we go. Okay, go ahead. Keep going.
Is that prevention and of people being displaced, as well as preservation of our existing affordable housing stock, is absolutely a critical part of that. I think that our city is moving in the right direction by providing parking spots for RVs and people living in vehicles. As inadequate as that shelter is, it's part of what we have, and we should not criminalize people for living at the margins. In fact, we should welcome them in and provide additional supports to help them stabilize.
What is it that you feel should be done with respect to the Oakland police? Because the police have been a big issue, and I know you've talked about it in your platform, but how do you think that we should handle the police? I'm asking that deliberately, open-endedly,
Yeah, well, thank you so much. Fundamentally, I see our police force as a group of people who are there to be of service in the community. I was a volunteer rape crisis counselor, and care very much about safety in our communities. And I think that many populations of people throughout the city are vulnerable, whether you're living in a homeless encampment or at the top of Montclair. There are elders who are vulnerable. There are people who are unsheltered who are vulnerable. There are women and girls who are being human trafficked through our city. And we need a police force that can be effective. That said, I think we are facing a national crisis of, the relations with our police are at a low point nationally. I think here in Oakland, we need to do more to recruit locally. Absolutely. That's absolutely critical. To retain and recruit local folks. We really need that culture, local culture, to be reflected in our police force. We need more women. I think that, we have our citizens commission, and I think that needs to be a fully supported and robust body. That measure was supported by almost 90% of the population, and I think that our first responders, our police officers in this case, want to work in harmony with the community, I would say, for the most part. Certainly, there are, folks who do terrible things, who wear a badge, and those folks should be rooted out. And those who are there to serve and do the job that we are asking them to do, we want them to do that, and we want them to be effective.
Hey, folks, as a programming note, this is the full 21st century way of communicating. So I'm using an iPhone on a Mac. We're on Facebook Messenger. We've got notifications coming through. And so if you're out there and you're a millennial and you're voting in Oakland, this is the person you want to vote for because she's doing it the ultra modern way. And that's a Vassograd for you. Now,
partnering in the community.
There you go.
A huge part of what I want to do is that, one person alone cannot be effective. We must foster partnerships with our community to let the good ideas, to let the innovations that are there come through our municipal government. The government does not have enough money. It doesn't have enough resources to do everything that we need to do. And I think that's everything from providing youth and senior services to watershed restoration and infrastructure development. We need to partner with the nonprofit community, with the philanthropic community, with our community-based engaged volunteers, as well as our for-profit partners here in Oakland, to really bring forward better solutions. We are in a region that is just chock full of innovative ideas and a can-do spirit, and that doesn't always come through. I want to foster those partnerships to help us do more to improve our communities.
Hey, so what about your thoughts regarding not just the police, but also such things as illegal dumping and how we deal with that?
It's a scourge. It's a terrible problem that we have. It's frankly extremely distressing and disgusting. I mean, it's just, and it disproportionately impacts poor communities where there are a higher percentage of immigrants and brown and black folks, and that's unacceptable. In any neighborhood, it's absolutely unacceptable. I think that we need to do better at enforcement. I think that we need to go to an equity-based solution, which is something that was tried out. I think it was in District 6, where we don't wait for people to call. Right now, we have an inequitable system that waits for people to call and complain. Well, for folks who are working 2 and 3 jobs, who are just stretched to the limit, they're not necessarily going to have the capacity to call and complain in order to get trash removed repeatedly, when there is very little enforcement of the codes, and where scofflaws come and dump often. What we need to do is look at hotspots and deploy our public works in a smart way, letting them lead, because they know where the hot spots are. They can lead on this, and they can get us to more effective solutions. So I think going to an equity-based framework where we're not waiting for people to call, but we're actually getting out in front of the problem and going to known hotspots to clean up there, looking at doing better around our enforcement. I know we're trying to step that up, but I think we need to really amp that up, as well as just increasing the fines. It cannot be acceptable to dump in Oakland. It just can't be in any neighborhood anywhere in our city. It's just not acceptable.
Hey, you've walked a lot of miles. What have you learned from the people of District 4? What's on their mind?
Homelessness and housing and affordability.
Mm-hmm.
And this has been said since the beginning of the election cycle. People are really concerned about the quality of our streets. Our streets are in bad condition, as they are across all of California. I'm very hopeful that people will vote no on 6, very strong no on 6. We need money for infrastructure. We also need to work closely with DOT, which is a new department, which is, I think an important step in the right direction in terms of looking at transportation and our roadways, in a more focused way. I think that's important. We also need to recognize that is a newly formed department, and we just need a lot more money. We need a lot more money.
Now, I know you've been on the campaign trail, haven't had a chance to watch sports much. The Raiders got drubbed by the 49ers in gigantically bad fashion. But what about sports in Oakland and the A's? The A's are looking at 2 sites for a ballpark, Howard Terminal, Coliseum. Which do you favor?
I favor the one that does not cost the taxpayers money, the one that keeps the A's here, the one that keeps our spirits up and keeps us going out to that ballpark. It's a lot of fun, and I think it's critical that we have our sports teams here. It's been heartbreaking to see us lose our sports teams. I think that really impacts the spirit of who we are. Mm-hmm. And it's an opportunity. Sports is not to be dismissed. The power of sports and the power of sports to unite people and to engender just joy. I mean, it's fun to go to a game and there's one thing to watch it on TV, but it's another thing to actually go to the game and see fellow residents. We want to make sure that our kids have opportunity here in Oakland.
Mm-hmm. Hey, so let's repeat that one more time, because it cut out a little bit. You said you want to make sure the kids have a great opportunity in Oakland and for sports, right?
To see our sports team and to play sports. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. I think that our hand in hand with enjoying watching sports is actually playing sports and having a very robust, well-funded, and well-run, organized, and capable Department of Parks, Recreation, and Youth Development is absolutely critical.
Hey, this is a bit of it's not a gotcha question, or it's a left field question, but in a different way. How come we don't have a WNBA team in Oakland? We've got all these.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Hold on a second. You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Are you kidding me? I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
100% that.
Yeah.
Yes.
High five.
High five. That is what we're talking about right now.
That's right. Yeah, we got to work on that.
You got me. I'm all in for that.
Hey, I know you're busy, and I want to, in closing, I don't want to take up too much of your time there, but I want you to let people know how they can help you in these closing moments till closing days toward the election.
Well, we're phone banking, we're walking. It's a lot of fun. I'm actually here with a couple of volunteers right now, and we just got off the phones tonight and are feeling really pumped up about the days ahead. We have a big push. Give us a call at 519-4455. You can also meet up with us Saturday at 10 o'clock at Cafe Santana on MacArthur Boulevard. Our good friends Richards and Isela Santana are happy to make you a cup of coffee, and then you can join us to walk. Also, check us out at our website, Pam Harris, the number 4, Oakland.com. We also need your contributions. $5 makes a huge difference. Lawn signs cost $10 each. Those walk cards that you see, they cost 50 cents each. And we're not wealthy folks. We're in this to make a big difference in Oakland, to make sure this is a city that is compassionate, that is equitable, and where all are treated with dignity. Please help us get to the finish line. This is a very competitive race. We can do it with your help. Please, if you can, make a contribution, $5, $10, $15, no gift too small. I'd be very grateful for your support and to walk hand in hand with you to a victorious finish on Tuesday.
Hey, tell them your website.
That's Pam Harris, PamHarris, the number 4, Oakland.com.
Hey, Pam, stick around. Thanks a lot. And folks, support her and give her your support. She's been a fantastic candidate and a great person, and I think she deserves it. And subscribe to Zenny62.
Thanks, Danny.
Yeah.